Hello, and welcome to the Simply Business Interview Podcast, a podcast created by business owners for business owners. I am your host, John Jennings. I believe that most business owners are working way too hard for much too little. And one of our issues is that we overcomplexify things. I believe the answers are almost always within us or within our reach. I like to say that I'm a simple man with simple ideas. So welcome to Simply Business. Today we are joined by Derek Shelton, who is the owner and provider at Optimize You in Evansville, Indiana. Optimize You is a franchise. I don't always bring on franchise owners per se, but I could just tell from when I met Derek, he's got that entrepreneurial mindset, and I'm just a big believer in people who are trying to make things better in our healthcare system, and I think that's generally what he is doing. So. Derek, let me first just turn over to you to kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do there at Optimize You.
Sure. Yeah, I've been Derek Shelton. Born and raised in Henderson, Kentucky, which is right across the bridge here from Evansville. We're called Optimize You Evansville, but we just recently moved to Newburgh. So it's if you're familiar with the area, it's a line in the road where that's
Yeah.
the two. So we're not talking about anything major difference, but been a nurse practitioner for 20 years this year. I have a lot of experience in cardiology, emergency medicine, and more recently orthopedics. And Been in orthopedics now for 15 years, and the last six of those being the chief operating officer of a large orthopedic group here in southwestern Indiana. And I am a franchiser, yes, but I have a very entrepreneurial. I started off very entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
but then decided I didn't need to really reinvent the wheel on a lot of these things because there was a lot of really good people out there that were already doing what I was looking to do. Basically during COVID, everything kind of shut down, especially as far as healthcare is concerned. We're an elective orthopedic practice, so we had to kind of figure out creative ways to keep the doors open during that time, but continue to take care of people as well. So we had a wonderful team that we had at the time that we got that taken care of. And then once we had that going, everything was quite honestly kind of boring. So I'd always this I had this we had this influx of the prevalence of telemedicine that we were doing at the office, and that really kind of exploded in everything in my area. The algorithms that the internet feeds me on a daily basis as a provider, nurse practitioner, those kinds of things, plus my interest. A lot of for online men's health clinic, online this, online that. You can't hardly turn on the television anymore without seeing some sort of online hair
Right.
restoration or sexual dysfunction kind of thing,
Yep.
where you can go online and get these things. So started exploring that, and in the entrepreneurial spirit, thought that I would just create my own. But what I've always been interested in men's health. I think it's
Yep.
really neglected, especially in Western medicine. We're commonly ignored and are, you know, lots of issues that we could get out there and address. So anyway, I tried to build that on my own, found that to be an incredibly uh, daunting task whenever you start talking about pharmacy contracts and all that stuff. So
Yep.
I found the good folks at Optimize You, who had been going for about 2 or 3 years at the time and had probably 10 or 11 clinics, and met with them, talked about opening one up and what it would take to do such a thing. And about 8 months later, we opened up Optimize You Evansville on the north side.
Yeah.
Been open for be 3 years in June this year. Just moved to a location where we tripled our size. That in turn, we've increased our patient load by about 30% since that move. So we're highly excited, and it's a different approach from the telemedicine things because it's a brick and mortar, and we get to sit down face to face and talk with people. So that's what really makes it a very, very rewarding specialty in healthcare when those are slim to none anymore. So, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're doing some, cool things there, like
Yeah, yeah.
red light therapy
Oh
and,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
cold plunges.
yeah.
I've tried the cold plunge. I don't think I'll ever try that again.
It's definitely an acquired taste. It's
It's
one you got to keep going doing. Yeah, keep going doing.
Yeah, that's a little much for me. But some of these other therapies are really cool, and
Well,
I've seen a lot of people get some great results from them. So what are some of the things you're offering there?
so the biggest thing that we do is hormone optimization for men and women. Okay, so we have male and female clients. Myself as a provider here, and I have my partner Jessica, who takes care of our female population. And we set off for it that way because we want everybody to be comfortable. I want you to be able to come in and tell me whatever it is you need to talk about.
Yeah,
Our quote unquote exam rooms are basically like it's like a living room. We kind of set it up like almost like a parlor for the guys, and it's very, pink and light greens and stuff for the women, just to get
hey, that's
relaxed.
smart.
Right. Well, it just makes it relaxing, and we can, this isn't your standard approach to healthcare. This is me and you sitting down and talking about what's going on in your life,
Mhm.
and the same thing for the women. So we're not on an exam table where it's cold and there's, we make you put on a gown and,
Yeah,
there's, various things that I can stick in, ears and things like that on the wall or whatever. So, um, our exam, although medical, we're both licensed providers, is more of a conversation.
yeah.
And wanting to make people feel the best that they can. Our mantra is normal is not optimal. So
Mm.
we get a lot of people that come in, they've been to their doctor and they're kind of at wit's end because they've been told that, well, your labs are within normal range. And that's normal. Your normal and my son's normal are two totally different things, right?
Right.
Especially when it comes to hormone optimization. So that's our bread and butter. That's what we do on the for the most part. We'll do sexual health. We do some weight loss counseling and management and those kinds of things as well. But the toys that you alluded to earlier is what I call them. We have cold plunge.
I would never call them that, but you're welcome. They're your high price, very expensive toys.
Very, very expensive toys. Yeah, we have cold plunge. We have infrared saunas. We have red light therapy beds. We have compression therapy. We have an IV lounge. Vibroacoustic bed is something that is very rare around here. It's very much a Southwest kind of thing. So Sedona, Arizona kinds of things. But it
Yeah, I
is
was just there. So
oh, really? The
they like their crystals and
oh yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff
So
out there.
so you have to. So I walk a very. I wear my skeptic helmet whenever I go out there, right? But and as soon as we talking about quartzes and crystals and stuff, you've kind of lost me. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
same
value
here.
that to some people, but um, but I went to a conference there 2 Septembers ago, and it was a Brecca, Gary Brecca biohacking the 10X conference, okay?
Right.
Which we could do a whole episode on that as well. But they had these implements there. One of them was this vibroacoustic bed that is just, you literally lay on this mat, you put on noise canceling headphones, and you kind of black your eyes out with a weighted eye mask. And whatever that thing does, man, I'm telling you, it takes you off somewhere 15 to 20 minutes of just pure relaxation, wake up refreshed, and it works by frequencies. So the bed vibrates at a certain frequency. There's certain frequencies that play in your head, and it works.
Wow.
It works. So I highly advise anybody that what you want vibroacoustic bed. If you have one around you, or you can come to Newburgh and we can do one here. We have two of them.
I'm ready to come now. It's probably the drive back. I get
Right.
stressed up out again.
Right. Yeah. 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 We have two of them here, and I have one in my house. If that tells you anything, I mean,
Oh, wow.
I'm a big believer in it. So it's very nice. But what we're really, I mean, people hear about cold plunges and saunas and stuff like that. So we have those available for people to just try out, if nothing else. But we have several people that come in and do it on a daily basis. It's
Yeah.
as soon as we open up in the morning, they're following us in the door so they can get their cold plunge in and go off to work. So
More power to them.
good way to start your day.
And you've got growth plans. You're
Yeah,
working on a new location, right?
We're opening up a new location in Columbus, Indiana. I have to say Columbus, Indiana, because as soon as you say Columbus, everybody in
Yeah.
my world thinks Ohio and the Arnolds and all the
Yeah.
big bodybuilding stuff that goes on up there. But no, Columbus, Indiana, halfway between Louisville and Indianapolis, probably about 2 hours east of here. So
Yeah.
beautiful place, standalone building. We're excited about that because usually we're kind of in that, like right now we're in these kind of shopping center kinds of things. But we're really excited about the expansion and growth.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
So let's kind of wind back a little bit to you've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, I guess, since COVID.
Mhm.
Uh, and I can appreciate the whole 8 years ago, I started my practice and I was going to just go out on my own and kind of start my own. And I met these people from Focal Point from
Uh-huh.
Vancouver and I went, wow, it's like they're inside my head.
Right.
They know what I'm already thinking and they've already built the system. All I have to do now is kind of implement it. I'm like, wow, that's a lot less work, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. So
Right.
I can appreciate, when you met the Optimize You people that you went, wow, these guys have already figured it out. So that's cool. But I know no road is straight and no road is without its detours and potholes. What were some of the challenges that you've faced in bringing this dream to life?
The first one was location. Like we couldn't, as far as once we got on the initial path, like this is what we're going to do and go from there, we had a really hard time finding a good location. We started off wanting to be in the Newburgh area. Um, that kind of, we looked at like probably 12 different places and just really couldn't find the right one to do us. And didn't really give up, but we were just kind of like, okay, let's pump the brakes for a week or two and see what kind of falls into place. And like, just taking that breath allowed us to go I went and had a lunch with a guy who knew a guy who called a guy, and
Yeah.
I had lunch with that guy the next day, and we signed the lease at the end of that week. So it's just kind of
Isn't
sent
it amazing how those relate? You just
it
get the
is.
right relationship.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
and it would have never have happened. I would have never accepted a lunch with this person because we were constantly out kind of scouting areas, and kind of doing things. So it's just really cool how those things happen out. The second thing is just, you know, again, Optimize You does a great job, and probably hopefully you had the same experience with Focal Point, was that everything is kind of a plug and play. Like I have you have this message that we want to get out. It's the dissemination of that message and
Yeah.
how to execute the plan, right?
Right.
And getting the EMR together, getting this, getting that, or the electronic medical record,
Yeah.
and the lab accounts, the pharmacy accounts, all of this stuff that I would have never have thought of, doing. It would have been 6 months down the road of me like, oh man, I should have done this. I should have done that. Why didn't I do that? And these guys already had all that stuff together. So
Yeah.
um, the difficulty was just really taking those first kind of preliminary steps. It was really kind of a smooth process. I'm fortunate enough to have a bunch of passionate people around me. So
Yeah.
and they'd all done it before. Fairly young company whenever I first got into it, but I mean they have multiplied 3 times since that time. So they're experts in it. They know it. Optimize You as a company that's full of like-minded folks like myself who are looking for the kind of the healthcare disruptor kind of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
The looking at the things like all the buzzy words like longevity, wellness, anti blah blah blah, all this kind of thing. And so we're all in it together. We can all really have great conversations, but it's the execution of that, like the logistics of it, that they've really got down good too. So it really wasn't that bad of a process, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The biggest decision was more of a oh my gosh, we're really doing this kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hey, when it comes to making an investment of your own
Yeah.
money, I don't
Oh
care
yeah,
what it is. It's,
sure.
it. So, so what's kind of I guess that intestinal drive, I can tell you're a fit guy. You look like you could like crush me with one hand. like a beer can, you know.
Yeah.
you,
It's a
you're,
somewhat healthy obsession, to be honest with you.
so is that kind of really what have you always been that way? Have you since youth? Have you been kind of a health driven kind of person?
So I kind of grew up with an you know I was a heavier kid. I won't say any bad words, but I was a heavier kid, you know. So in my early 20s, I decided to kind of change that around when I was going to nursing school. We had to do this. It was called a self-care project. My first semester of nursing school. So we did it, and mine was like I'm just going to lose weight, you know, generically. And
Yeah.
it was like 80 pounds, like through a semester of college. So that was crazy reinforcement. And then I just kind of stacked it onto there. When I was 37, or I'm sorry, 35, I was doing a competition jujitsu and I had a really bad knee injury. And so I was, you know, on crutches, you know, couldn't put weight on my leg for like 6 months. It was, you know, 5 or 6 surgeries. And then it ended up having a knee replacement at 37. And, you know, after, you know, sitting around on the couch or the chair feeling sorry for myself for like 3 years is when I just really decided just to, you know, get my butt up and start taking care of myself again. I had a son that was 3 at the time, you know, so it was, I wasn't going to miss out on those opportunities that I could have with him. So that's where the drive comes from. And
Yeah.
I am, like I said, somewhat healthy. I'm relentless at it at this point. So I've done a couple of Ironmans. Competed in bodybuilding twice last year, and decided that I'm done with the bodybuilding thing. Now I'm obsessed with this. Now I'm obsessed with this thing called high rocks. So if you've ever heard of high rocks before,
What's that?
so high rocks is it's like a fitness race. So you run a kilometer to a station, and then that station is you do, you know, you're on a ski machine for 1,000 meters, and then you run another kilometer, and then you push a sled, you know, for 80 meters, and then it's 8 stations, and it's just one of those things, man. Yeah,
I,
if you type in
I'm too old to even
HYROX,
think about that stuff anymore.
HYROX.
HYRO. I'm gonna check
Yeah,
that out.
yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a European thing, but it's making
Okay.
its way over here to the States.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Iron Man and High Rocks are
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
well
With some bodybuilding in the middle of it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you know, I yeah, I used to dabble in some of that stuff. I can't not, never never to your degree.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
actually
it translates well because that's the
oh yeah,
lifestyle, right? You know, it's everything that I'm doing is just lateral to what my profession is, and that's
yeah.
if I enjoy all of that so much, then that's kind of the perfect key, I think, to life.
Yeah, I mean, you're being true to your purpose and
Yeah,
values. I mean, that's
yeah,
I've always said like I've walked into a doctor's office before and met that overweight
sure.
doctor or whatever, and I've thought, is this guy taking care of himself? Is he going to be able to take care of me? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know when
You're telling me
I
to do
got
what? Yeah.
when I actually got into healthcare back about 12, I guess 11 or 12 years ago is when I kind of got involved with working with healthcare companies. It was telemedicine. Actually, it was what I was doing. And I was overweight and I thought, I can't do this. I can't walk into healthcare companies overweight. I felt just, so I did the same thing. I went on a quest to
Right. Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
weight and exercise and I dropped like 50 pounds
Yeah.
and it felt better about myself and I've kept it off. Felt better about myself and felt truer to the people I was trying to serve,
Mhm. Yeah.
so I can kind of relate to that in
Yeah.
a much smaller way, not an Iron Man way.
Well, from a business standpoint, especially in this business, I mean, that's what, if this is, the business minded podcast, that's you have to sell your own product, right?
Yeah,
You have to
absolutely.
if you're not a believer in what it is you're pitching, then it shows quicker than anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Well, I know you probably can't make like medical claims, and so we can put that disclaimer off
all
of
right.
it.
All right.
But what are some of the things you're seeing in people's lives that are coming into your place that are doing that relaxation therapy or
Yeah.
the red light therapy and some of those things.
Yeah. So a lot of people, a lot of those are they're, kind of they have very generic type um indications. They're, red light therapy for is great for inflammatory conditions. Well, what does that? I mean, we're all inflamed, right?
Yeah.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon where I'm at. It's like I've been up all since 5:30. It's I'm
Yeah.
inflamed.
Yeah.
So, um, but I see a ton of people that are coming in with benefits from those red light therapy, daily sauna usage. We don't see as many cold plungers, just because of the shock value of it all. But the one thing that I do get a little bit concerned with that I see people coming in is that we have a lot of people that are buying stuff on the what we'll call the gray market. You know, gray market peptides and things like that. And it's just because peptides are the biggest buzzword, in healthcare right now,
Yeah.
and whatever side of the aisle you stand on, with RFK coming out and kind of preaching all of this stuff right out of the gate, it was I'm a proponent of them, but they have to be with education. You have to because it isn't, you know,
Well,
and,
take a moment to educate because I've
okay.
heard the term. I don't
Yeah.
understand them. So,
So,
hey,
peptides are short branches of little proteins. Okay, so they're made
okay.
up of little amino acids, but they're little proteins. And what they do is you inject them, you take them, you however they're delivered into your body, but then they tell your body to do something that it already does better or more efficiently or at certain times or something like that. Okay,
Okay.
so the most common ones are the weight loss peptides. Those are the skinny shots that everybody is, kind of, if you
Yeah.
drive up and down, whatever,
All the GLP-1s, but they be considered
GLP-1s, right? Yeah. So
peptides.
GLP-1s, now there's GLP-2s, now there's GLP-4, all of these kinds of things. But, what they do is they shut down a system in your body that tells you that you're hungry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a chemical process that happens in your body that whenever you are full, and these peptides mimic that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can take that and help lose weight. And then hopefully, and what we do is hopefully is like we'll counsel you on how to not be reliant on that forever. Hey, let's use this as a motivator, a kickstarter, like, hey, you can do this. But here are
Yeah.
the habits that you should kind of pick up in the meantime in order to make a healthy transition off of these things, where we're not yo-yoing up and down off of these. And
Right.
then you have places that will, you walk in there, they give you a baggie full of syringes with it and say, here you go, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe those people run more people through than I can in an hour, but I I I love to sit down and talk with people through those things because
Yeah.
they're not they're not meant to be taken forever, you know.
Yeah.
And the press that's associated with those, especially that initial wave where everybody's like, "Oh, the GLP-1s, you're losing skeletal muscle, you're losing, bone density and skeletal muscle mass." And all this. Well, yeah, because those people are starving themselves, you know,
Mhm.
and they're not. If you and I quit eating, we're going to lose muscle mass and bone
Yeah.
density, right? It's
Right.
not necessarily the drug per se that's making that happen. It's the you're not eating,
Yeah.
eating, you
So
know.
it's the effect of what it's doing.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get but what we have seen and the way that we kind of do it and what sets us different, and I'll continue to brag on that with all of the optimized use, is that we're licensed providers who are going to sit you down in a room and say, okay, here's what this is going to do. Hey, it's going to make you really nauseated, right? It's going to do this, it's going to do that. Here's the expectations of you're going to have. But here is the macros program, what I want you to eat daily. You need to hit these goals. And there's
Mhm.
going to be some days where you're not going to feel like eating it, but I need for you to eat this.
Yeah.
You will lose weight, if you do this, it's
Yeah.
not that whole thing is not real rocket science, as
Yeah.
far as that's concerned. but some people like to say that it is. It's truly not. Um, some people just have to quit kind of, fooling themselves into thinking that what they're doing is enough, and it's just different for everybody.
Yeah.
And unless you talk to experts on the matter, chances are you're kind of spinning your wheels a lot of times on those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was fortunate well, I'm glad I didn't have that weight loss goal when they came out, because I probably would have been, hey, give me a shot. I mean,
Yeah.
I did more of the low carb and exercise, and
Yeah.
kind of.
But now that
Yeah,
works, right?
exactly.
So if it's wintertime, the weight starts creeping back up, or whatever it is, that whatever kind of.
How did you know?
We'll
Look, keep the camera up, here up.
Yeah, I don't know how much snow you just got, but we just got probably
Yeah.
8 to 10 inches of snow, and it's still in our parking lots for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
but now you've learned habits that and you have the knowledge now to know what works for you, right? And you
Right.
can make those adjustments accordingly, right? That's what I want everybody to take home with them whenever they come to us for weight loss. But I also want to give them the positive reinforcement that some of those GLP drugs do in order to keep going on it. Like, don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged, I'm going to give you this, but I mean, it's a lot of deprogramming and reprogramming in mindset of
Yeah.
how we should approach those things. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So besides the new place, what's on the horizon? I always like to ask, what's next, for you.
global domination. I don't know. My plan is to continue. I'm a Kentucky boy at heart, but man, we have some great people in Kentucky that have some great clinics down there. Lots of seasoned people. Owensboro, Louisville, Hopkinsville, and I think there's Lexington. All great seasoned clinics down there. So my goal is to continue to head north and continue to kind of spread the word. I have I am currently developing, um taking my bodybuilding experience and trying to couple up some programs that go along with, even for people that are just here for hormone optimization, where we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about exercise programs, and then we're doing follow-up maintenance on those things where we can just continue, not necessarily a personal trainer. Hey, I'm going to give you 12 weeks to shredded abs or something like that, but somebody that we can just coach, along, because
Yeah.
it helps. I mean, I consider myself somewhat an expert in this field. I had a coach, and I have to have that coach. If I wanted to go back to bodybuilding, the first thing I'd do would be hire a coach, or
Yeah.
ask my coach if he would take me back,
Yeah.
because I know that this, will talk my way out of a lot of things,
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's perfect application of what I do as far as business coaching, because
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Most of the challenges and most of the problems people face is right here. We always say the 6 inches between your ears.
Right. Yeah.
We just got to get past them. So
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So if you were talking to a younger you, somebody out there that's thinking of making an impact in the world like this, what would you tell them?
Do it. 100%. Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. I, I had this idea for probably 10 years before, that I took that first step, and knowing the satisfaction that I have now in the way that clients, patients respond, clients respond, all of it is so much more satisfying
Yeah.
to me as a healthcare provider than than the majority of what I've experienced over the past that same time frame.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people the same thing. And I love that. You're just speaking for passion. Just do it.
Just
It's the
do it, man.
old Nike saying, just do
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah.
And you do have to live a certain amount of life's experience so that you can appreciate it. And, I think if you try this, when you're 20,
Right.
you maybe don't have the life experiences necessary to make it happen. But when you've built up that knowledge experience, it's an awesome thing to do.
Well, and I think the other thing that helps that mentality now, and that would have helped that well before then, was that, I mean, you just have to surround yourself with just, people that aren't going to, you know, uh, kind of BS you into,
Yeah.
not doing something,
Yeah.
Uh, so surround yourself with good, honest folks, and if that's just two people, that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
you don't. There's no sense to go out and look for 12 different inputs, right?
Right.
Find some people that you trust and you love, and go with what they tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some great advice there too. We'll wrap with that. So
All right.
if folks in Evansville, Henderson area, or in the future soon Columbus area, Optimize You, easy to find.
OptimizeUcenters.com/Evansville.
Okay.
You'll find my beautiful face and Jessica's beautiful face on there as well, and we'll be glad to take care of you.
Awesome. Well, Derek, thanks for coming on the show. You're an inspirational guy, and
Thanks, man.
I knew we were going to connect well. So I'm just really glad you joined the program.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, please share or like it on whatever platform you use. You can find me on social media. On most platforms, I'm John K. Jennings. My first book is also available. Your Baby is Ugly tells you about 10 truths that business owners need to hear, but often won't, and how to overcome them. You can find it on Amazon. Just search for Your Baby is Ugly. And be watching for our next episode, where I'll interview another business owner who will share their stories and insights into what it's like to create a great business.